Welcome to the Compost Channel, where we turn kitchen waste into black gold for your beloved garden. Urban gardening is a lot of fun, but dealing with organic waste can quickly become a huge headache. Many people try composting at home, only to end up with terrible smells and swarms of flies. The pile just sits there for months without breaking down, leaving you frustrated and ready to give up. So where's the real problem? Even when you've followed all the basic advice online? The root cause of a failed compost pile is that it has basically entered a state of complete clinical death. Clinical death means your compost pile is severely lacking oxygen and literally suffocating inside. Without oxygen, beneficial microbes can't grow or work effectively in the compost pile. The decomposition process slows down, creating the perfect environment for smelly anaerobic bacteria to thrive. That's why your compost pile smells sour, attracts flies, and refuses to break down properly. To fix this problem, we need a solution that wakes up the sleeping microbial ecosystem inside the pile. You might think about buying expensive microbial products from the store to help, but the best secret is already sitting right in your kitchen, and it's incredibly cheap. It's active dry yeast, the same kind used for baking bread and commonly sold in grocery stores. For less than a few cents, you can unleash an incredibly powerful army of microorganisms. Baker's yeast works like a battery, providing the spark needed to restart the entire system. It consumes sugar quickly, generating heat and CO2 that help loosen and aerate the entire compost pile. Now let's make this magical starter solution to bring your compost pile back to life. The yeast tea recipe is super simple, and you only need 3 common household ingredients. First, prepare 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast, which is about 10 grams of beneficial microbes. Second, prepare 1 tablespoon of sugar, preferably brown sugar or pure molasses. The sugar acts as a rich food source, providing instant energy for the microorganisms. Third, prepare 1 liter of warm water, ideally around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. One very important note is that you should never use untreated tap water containing chlorine. Chlorine is designed to kill bacteria, so it can accidentally wipe out your microbial army. Let tap water sit overnight in a bucket first, so the chlorine can evaporate before using it. The process is quick and easy. First, dissolve the sugar completely in the warm water. Once the sugar has dissolved, gently sprinkle the dry yeast over the surface and do not stir it. Let the mixture rest for about 15 to 20 minutes so the yeast can activate. When you see a thick layer of foam on top, that means the yeast has activated successfully. At this point, the liquid contains billions of hungry microbes ready to feast on waste. Now we'll pour this microbial starter deep inside the suffocating compost pile. However, don't just pour it all over the surface because that won't be very effective. Use a long stick to poke several deep holes all the way down to the bottom of the compost bin. These deep holes act like air tunnels, delivering precious oxygen deep into the pile. Then slowly pour the yeast tea solution into each hole so the microbes can reach the compost core. The hungry microorganisms will immediately attack the organic waste and generate heat. The CO2 produced will rise upward, fluffing the pile and creating large air pockets. The combination of microbes, heat, and oxygen will quickly revive this dead compost pile. In just 3 to 5 days, the foul smell should disappear completely. Instead, you'll notice the fresh, earthy smell of a forest after the rain, which means the composting process is healthy again. The volume of waste will also shrink significantly as the microbes digest the material. However, to keep the ecosystem running smoothly, there are a few important things to remember. Never add processed food waste, especially foods containing salt or oil. Salt and oil coat the waste, preventing microbes from reaching it and slowing decomposition. Second, control the moisture level carefully because water is essential for microbial life. If the pile is too dry, the microbes die of thirst and stop working. But if it's too wet, they drown. To check the perfect moisture level, use this simple and effective squeeze test. Put on gloves, grab a handful of compost from deep inside the pile, and squeeze it tightly. If only a few drops of water seep through your fingers, the moisture level is perfect. If water streams out, the compost pile is too wet and needs dry materials like fallen leaves. Dry materials help absorb excess moisture and create air pockets filled with oxygen. If the material crumbles apart with no moisture at all, add clean water immediately to rehydrate the pile. An important warning: never pour yeast tea directly onto the roots of young plants. The fermentation process generates heat and organic acids. These conditions are great for breaking down waste, but can easily burn delicate plant roots. Only use yeast tea for compost piles, or dilute it at a 1:1,000 ratio for use as a foliar fertilizer. Managing organic waste at home not only protects the environment, but also creates clean fertilizer. Finished compost is dark, fluffy, and nutrient-rich, a priceless gift for your garden. By understanding how microorganisms work, you can fully control the composting process. There's no need for expensive machines or chemicals because nature already provides everything you need. Even a tiny packet of yeast can spark a green revolution right inside your home. Start practicing today and turn discarded waste into valuable resources for the soil. Your garden will grow greener and healthier thanks to the nutrients created from your own kitchen scraps. If you found this knowledge helpful, don't hesitate to share it with fellow gardening lovers. Together, we can build a greener community where every family manages its own organic waste. Thank you for joining Compost in protecting the environment. See you again in the next videos.